And being this is the second Friday of the month that we're sitting, the next item is the Premier's questions. And as you know, members, we'll do this separate from the normal question period. So it'll be 30 minutes for the minister's questions, and then we'll go on to the regular questions for another 60 minutes. Premier, there are members who have indicated they have questions for you this morning. So we'll start the clock now. Opposition Leader, would you like to put your questions now? Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of this honorable House, and the listening public. Given the findings of the labor force participation, labor force survey of 2024, I'm asking the Premier, what steps is the government taking to close the wage gap between Bermudian workers and guest workers for highly skilled jobs? Thank you.
Premier.
Thank you. I appreciate the honorable member for his question. I won't step on the toes of the Minister for the Economy and Labor, who I know is well suited to answer this question. But what I will say is I'll support any measures that the Minister of Economy and Labor will take on this particular matter. What we've seen in the labor force survey is there's been continued job growth. We see record low unemployment for Bermudians. But yes, we recognize there are disparities. There are things that are mentioned in our platform to close those disparities. There's work that the Minister of Economy and Labor has done thus far, and look forward to future work on that matter.
Yeah. You have supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Can the Honorable Premier explain why the job creation figures are still lagging behind pre-pandemic levels? Thank you.
Premier.
I can't say why the job creation figures are lagging behind pre-pandemic levels, but what I can say, Mr. Speaker, is that our economy, overall compensation, and other matters are higher than they were before the pandemic. The economy has recovered due to the government's successful execution of the economic recovery plan, and we know that there'll be more jobs that are coming online next year with the reopening of the Fairmont Southampton property, a project which we understand there were challenges from the other side. This government is going ahead and getting along with the work to secure investment in this country. We have a record number of international business jobs. We're continuing to see investment in tourism properties, continuing to see investment in residential, continuing to see investment in office projects, and the economy is looking brighter for the future, and we're going to continue to press ahead on that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Second question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. This is regarding housing and derelict properties. Can the Premier confirm how many government-owned derelict or unoccupied units exist, and why so many continue to sit empty during this housing crisis? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I do believe that those answers have been provided previously to the honorable member. What I can say to the honorable member is whether it's on the housing matters of which we do from the Minister of Housing or others, I think the honorable member would recognize and understand that if you're going to make sure that you address a housing crisis, it may sound good to tackle a derelict building, but if a derelict building is more expensive than new construction or other things, that would probably not make the best sense. But those matters have been provided previously. I do believe he's probably even asked those questions in this session to get written answers on the number of derelict houses that exist in government for government estates. So I believe the honorable member has those answers, but if not, I'm happy if he writes me, I can provide those answers very specifically. I'm sure the honorable member would not expect me to have the number of derelict houses off the top of my seat at Premier's question time.
Yep. Supplementary? Third question?
Third question, Mr. Speaker. This regards with regard to healthcare and aging population. Can the Premier explain what this government is doing to fix long delays for diagnostic imaging, specialist appointments, and long-term care placements for seniors? Thank
you. So, Mr. Speaker, you want me to go? Mr. Speaker, I'm not entirely certain what the honorable member is speaking about in regards to delays in diagnostic imaging, but I'm happy to answer the question related to matters related to long-term care. What I could tell the honorable member is long-term care is something that is an issue here in Bermuda, but also globally. But I think you can also recognize that by the measures announced by the Minister of Health last week, which were to, as of January 1st, to eliminate the waiting period for the personal home care benefit, looking to get people out of the hospital, as we recognize that that actually is cheaper for the economy. But in addition to that, there is a long-term healthcare strategy, which is going on between the Minister of Health and also the Minister of Youth, Social Development, and Seniors, which will be brought forward next year. There's working groups that are taking place in government. There was also a capstone course with high-level public officers who have determined these particular matters around the long-term care strategy. There's additional government funding that is going towards that. The Minister of Health will bring something forward towards the cabinet in regard to long-term care spaces. But I think it's also important to note the government has supported the development of private sector long-term care facilities for senior citizens or for those persons who may require those. And we recognize that there's a number of those particular properties that are currently under construction.
Thank you. Supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Would the Honorable Premier commit to providing a report to this House within the first 3 months of 2026 regarding the progress being made towards medically fit for discharge seniors entering suitable accommodation? Thank you. That's my final question.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Health has indicated that she's happy to make sure that is provided.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. The next member that has questions for you is the MP Linda Smith.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and honorable members of the House. Earlier this year, government said it was planning to launch a public awareness campaign about full membership in CARICOM. The expectation was that it would begin in November, and so far that hasn't happened. However, over the weekend, I participated in a telephone survey that asked participants whether they agreed with a list of suggested benefits of full membership in CARICOM. The survey especially listed the following suggested benefits: expansion of economic and trade opportunities, greater energy alternatives, stronger food supply, better security, human development, environmental coordination, health and safety, digital economy, university opportunities, and cultural opportunities. Participants were asked to rate their agreement to those suggestions. Now, given that the public has really been given no formal information on the costs, benefits, or risks of CARICOM, the questions did seem to me pretty premature. So my question now is, what is the government's plan and timeline for public awareness on full membership, and what can we expect? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm uncertain if the Minister of Home Affairs has provided answers to those questions in the public domain, but I think when these particular questions have been asked, we said we are still awaiting feedback from the United Kingdom. We still intend on publishing the document, but we're not going to publish the document until we have the complete information. I hope the honorable members would certainly understand that.
Supplementary?
Yes, I do. Given that the participants in the survey haven't received sufficient information to develop an informed opinion, how will the data that will come from this survey be used and represented as part of the whole informational campaign?
Mr. Speaker, I cannot answer a hypothetical question on the floor of the House, but I'm certain that what will happen is that we'll have a full and robust public consultation as has been promised in the throne speech.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, you only have one question, one sub. Okay, thank you. The next member has questions now, be MP Swan. Would you like to put a question? Your question?
Yes, good morning, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Morning.
Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking, in speaking with constituents, I can confirm that the number one issue is the cost of living. I know the Honorable Premier knows this to be true. So, Mr. Speaker, can the Honorable Premier please update this Honorable House on what actions the government has taken this year to reduce the cost of living for Bermudians?
Mr. Speaker, I thank the honorable member for his question, and I will agree with him that the number one issue is without question the cost of living, and I'm certain that honorable members across the House would welcome the steps and progress which have been made underneath this government, specifically with the Minister of Home Affairs, who has focused with laser-like precision on matters that are related to the cost of living. What I can say, Mr. Speaker, is the specific matters of which the government has done, which are matters which are inside of our particular control, is, as we've done early this year, was first a further 20% reduction in tax paid on fuel imported by Belco, which was reducing electricity generation costs and electricity bills on the island. The elimination of customs duty on all motor vehicle parts eased the costs of maintenance and repairs. A 50% reduction on mobile phone taxes, which lowered monthly bills for thousands of households. But I think it's also important, Mr. Speaker, to note the work that the Minister of Home Affairs has done with the telecom sector, which we're seeing lower plans that are being made available for residents on the island. In addition to that, they have reduced the base rate of land tax, bringing reduced to property owners, which will pick in December. So persons will have lower land tax bills for the new year. That is something that is important. And Mr. Speaker, we will keep our promise to also reduce vehicle licensing fees. But here's the thing, Mr. Speaker, these are not isolated changes. They are part of our ongoing strategy to reduce costs. We have a minister who is focused squarely on this particular matter. There'll be more matters that are coming, but I think that the minister deserves commendation for the work which she's done. And I sincerely hope that support will extend to both sides of this honorable house, as the progress that is being made is significant.
Thank you. Before I call on MP Swan for your supplementary, there's two supplementaries. I should have allowed MP Smith a second supplementary. So after we do MP Swan, if the MP Smith would like to do a second supplementary, he'll come back to you. But MP Swan, do your supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the Premier for his answer. And I think we all can accept that there's more work that can be done. And can the Honorable Premier provide further details on how the Affordable Bermuda Basket Initiative is helping working families and what has been achieved so far?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank the honorable member for his question, and I thank for the opportunity to, I guess, echo the words of the Minister of Home Affairs. Because I remember a few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, I was actually at a football match. And I remember, as we would typically get, someone said, you know what, the grocery prices are too high. What are you all doing about the grocery prices? I was able to say, guess what? The Minister of Home Affairs has released an affordable Bermuda basket. And I was able to direct this individual to costofliving.gov.bm, where that basket was produced. And so the Ministry of Home Affairs has worked with grocers. This initiative, working in partnership with local grocers, has secured price reductions on a basket of essential items now available across 16 locations island-wide, Mr. Speaker. This is something that is important, led by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The government partnered with 6 major grocers to offer 29 commonly purchased food and household items at significantly reduced prices. These include staples such as bread, eggs, rice, butter, and diapers. This initiative came into effect in October and has been voluntarily adopted by supermarkets across the island, including Marketplace, Lindo's, supermarkets, Harris & Hundreds, and I believe the English Market or Garden Market. Which Garden Market. Thank you. But both. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, the public can now clearly see marked signage for in-store participating items, and there has also been a dedicated website that has been launched, costofliving.gov.bm, where people can track savings and access information. This is about transparency, fairness, and real relief for Bermudians at the point of sale, demonstrating that this government is doing everything it can to deliver on its promise to reduce the cost of living.
And Peace, do you have a second sub?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I guess that game was the one between St. George's and Cougars that ended in a thrilling 3-3 tie. Mike, St. George's Colts are playing good ball, but we wanted the victory that time. A great initiative, Mr. Speaker. A final supplementary. Can the Premier share how the government is ensuring accountability from retailers to guarantee that cost savings are passed on to consumers? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Premier?
Acting Speaker.
Yes.
Hello, Madam Acting Speaker. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Madam Acting Speaker, the honorable member does raise a key point, and to certainly support accountability, the Ministry of Home Affairs, in conjunction with the Ministry of Finance, in the next session, will be bringing forward further amendments to the Cost of Living Commission Act, making sure that we can expand its powers to examine business pricing and practices and access records where necessary. This is something that was put forward inside of our election manifestos and also spoken about in the throne speech. And this is to ensure that duty and tax reductions are not just absorbed into margins, but are reflected in lower prices for consumers. Additionally, by publishing the list of participating grocers and ensuring public visibility through in-store signage and online updates, we're building a culture of transparency that will empower consumers and also to encourage compliance. Also, Mr. Speaker, I can state that the Ministry of Home Affairs is working along with the Ministry of Finance to launch the awaited price transparency app, which will cover the essential goods inside of these particular supermarkets to allow persons to track these particular items in regular updates so people can compare the prices of food items, essential items amongst the retailers on the island. And therefore, I would encourage all members and the people of Bermuda to visit costofliving.gov.bm so you can see all of the measures that the government is taking to ensure that we can reduce the cost of living and the cost of doing business for Bermudians.
Thank you, Premier. I think the member used up his second supplemental. So I'm going to go back to Member Smith so that she can ask her second supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to put it in context so we don't lose where we were, my questions were about the public survey that's been done with respect to CARICOM membership. And I actually took the survey, so my questions are in relation to the questions that were asked to me and the information that's out there and how all that will come together to produce a public awareness campaign. So my supplemental question was public awareness is one thing and consultation is another matter. The survey also asked whether participants feel that CARICOM membership should be decided by a referendum. And my question is, what are the plans for participatory consultation on this? Thank you.
Thank you. Premier?
Thank you. When the consultation begins, Madam Acting Speaker, those plans will be revealed, but I can share with the honorable member, as I've said in numerous times in this House, this will not be going to referendum. It will be decided by the people's elected representatives right here in this House.
Thank you, Premier. Now, I think it's Member Fay has questions for the Premier. Member?
Good morning, Madam Acting Speaker. Given the recent success of the Bermuda government in respect of the Privy Council hearing on municipality reform, is it anticipated that the Municipal Reform Act will be retabled in the House in the coming session?
Mr. Speaker, I will not get ahead of the cabinet on this one particularly, and if there's news to report. But I will say that certainly we have won on this. We have prevailed. It is very simple. And I think I would like to take the time to actually educate members of where this came from, because I think that it is an important point, and I think that members of the public need to know and to understand. When this government was elected in 2017, matters that were related to the municipalities were not on our agenda. They were not. It was when we were putting together infrastructure matters related to an island-wide water and sewage plan, when the then Minister of Public Works went to the Corporation of Hamilton to involve them in this process. And the Corporation of Hamilton said, no, we will not participate, and we will have our own water and sewage system. Now, Mr. Speaker, please explain to me how, on an island of 21 square miles, we need two water and sewage systems when it is far more efficient for there to be one for the entire country. That, Mr. Speaker, is what led us down the road exploring municipal reforms, because if those type of issues can happen from a subnational government when talking about national infrastructure, those are where the challenges arose. It is important, Mr. Speaker, that the government in 21 square miles, we are not where we were when municipalities were started, where there may have been a time for these certain things, work together to make sure that we have common infrastructure so that we can advance the views and thoughts of the entire island as a whole and not just the municipalities.
Thank you, Premier. Do you have supplementary?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that it would appear that the matter is still before Cabinet, I do ask, however, whether the Premier can confirm whether there will be municipal elections that are due next year, since they were postponed this past year.
Mr. Mr. Speaker, the answer I'll give to that supplementary is the same as I gave the prior. I will not go ahead of my cabinet and make pronouncements without having those discussions here during Premier's question time.
Second sub?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The next question this morning would be from MP Government Whip, MP Terrell.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. Mr. Speaker, in July this year, on the floor of this House, I asked the Premier about support for community clubs as outlined in the budget. At that time, the Premier advised that $1 million had been allocated for grants and a new online form had been created for clubs to apply for support. Can the Honorable Premier advise this Honorable House if any clubs have applied and been approved for grants since then?
Premier.
Great question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the honorable member for following up on this important matter. And I do know that the community clubs in our community were, I guess I would say, anxiously awaiting updates. I would like to, Mr. Speaker, take this opportunity to express regret on behalf of the Cabinet Office for the delay in processing of these. There were some internal matters with resourcing, but we were able to advance these particular matters. And I am pleased to give this update to the House. Mr. Speaker, as I stated previously, community and sporting clubs were invited to apply for the Department of Sports and Recreation. A total of 27 clubs applied for support with essential upgrades to facilities, including repairs to roofing and flooring, upgrades to changing rooms and public bathrooms, and much needed improvements to their electrical infrastructure, to give a few examples. In the first round of approvals in November, Mr. Speaker, a total of $600,000 was awarded to 23 community clubs from the $1 million that was allocated in this year's budget. Since then, I announced this honorable House, as we'll be debating in a supplementary later today, that an additional $500,000 will be allocated to support community clubs, bringing the total support from this government to $1.5 million. Following that announcement, all 23 clubs were approved for increases in their capital development grants, and 4 additional clubs that had also applied for support were able to be awarded grants. So all 27 clubs who did apply for grants were awarded grants, and these grants range from $85,000, Mr. Speaker, down to, I think the smallest one was $20,000. And the total allocation of $1.5 million has been awarded to those, and the check presentations will take place next Monday, December the 15th.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's these colors here are disturbing me.
I could understand that.
Exciting me. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Premier for the response and certainly the comparison that he already made. But my supplementary, Mr. Speaker, is I'm glad to hear that the government has continued to provide robust support to local clubs. Can the Premier confirm that I am right in assuming that the grant will not only help community clubs, but also local businesses?
Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And the honorable member is certainly correct. Because capital development grants do support essential upgrades to club facilities and infrastructure. This, of course, means repairs to plumbing, roofing, painting, new flooring, new windows, and much more, work that is carried out by local business and contractors that we have. But I think it's also important, Mr. Speaker, to note that the work of which we're doing continues the work of which we've done. In our 2017 election manifesto, we promised to ensure that we would support community clubs. Our record has demonstrated that our community clubs have been able to benefit from these infrastructure upgrades, provide better programming and services, and these things are also joined by other ministries who are providing such support.
Thank you. Second sub.
That's it for me, Mr.
Okay,
Speaker.
thank you. Premier, the next member's question is MP Pearman. MP Pearman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to the listening public. Honorable Premier, have the Honorable Premier and the Honorable and Learned Attorney General now had a chance to consider further the opposition's offer to assist in reforming Bermuda's inquest laws, which we discussed in this honorable chamber back in September. As a reminder, this was for proposed changes to give Bermudian families greater ability to inquire into sudden or unexpected deaths of their loved ones.
I thank the honorable member for raising the issue again. To answer his question specifically, no, we have not been able to advance those particular matters, and I'd encourage the Shadow Attorney General to reach out directly to the Attorney General on those particular matters.
Supplementary.
I'm grateful for that confirmation and will do so. Supplementary, as a reminder, Bermuda held only 4 public inquests in the past decade, where we saw almost 1,000 sudden or unexpected deaths. Would the Premier agree with me that this is an important issue requiring legislative change or legislative intervention? Thank you.
What I would say is, Mr. Speaker, on these matters that are under the purview of the Minister of Justice, I'm not going to give the policy pronouncements, but I think in my previous answer, I did recognize this is something that has have importance for people inside the community, and I would encourage the Shadow Attorney General to write to his learned colleague who sits in another place, who they can discuss these legal matters far better than just us mere lawmakers.
Further supplementary?
No further. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. MP, the next one, opposition whip. Would you like to put your question?
Yes. Good morning and thank you, Speaker. Just as a preference, I've been asking this question on at least 2 occasions officially and still haven't gotten an answer. And I'd like to ask of yourself as a speaker to insist that we do get an answer. And the question is this. Government was taken to court by a company called Oars Incorporated. We would like to know, how much did the government settle out of court for this case? I've asked twice and no answer.
What I would please encourage the honorable member, and I know that he continues to ask questions that are of a factual nature during unprompted in these things. If the honorable member would like to submit that question in writing, I will certainly seek counsel and will try to make sure the question gets answered. I do not have that answer off the top of my head. I'm very sorry for the honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, my apologies, but that answer is the same answer that was given twice before. No, hold on a second. There's no need for me to write in. I'm asking the question. He agreed to bring the answer to this house, and it hasn't been brought to this house. I don't need to write the question down. I'm giving it to him in this house.
Premier, one of the things that we have actually discussed in-house is that making sure we have a follow-up to commitments that are supposed to be followed up to. So we'll make sure there's a reminder for you. We'll make sure there's a reminder.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, I must object. The fact is that if the honorable member, standing orders do state very specifically that ministers should not be expected to give questions of factual nature or what's involved. And so if the honorable member has had plenty of time to submit a written question on that, so it can go to the appropriate authorities and he can get the answer to the question, Mr. Speaker. And so from this particular matter, I would encourage the honorable member again to write in the specific question so he can get an answer on the record.
To be clear, Mr. Premier, I weren't implying that you would have that information in your pocket. But let's be clear, that's nothing that you would carry in your pocket. So I think that's what I was implying. The comment I was made that there's been conversation in the past that when members have indicated they'll bring the information later, we should make sure we follow through with it. That's all that comment was. Okay. But no, I don't expect you to carry that information around. It's too factual to carry.
Mr. Speaker, if I may on that, I've never told the honorable member that I would bring the information. I've told him to write in a question. And I hope that he would do that so he can provide the answer.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anything further?
The Premier is incorrect. The first time I asked the question, he said he would bring the answer following weeks. The second time I asked the question, then he insisted on me writing in the question to him. Okay. So from the first question, it should have been answered. Right. It's been years.
No further question. That's been noted now. Okay. The next member has a question for you, MP. Premier, is MP Deal. MP Deal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, the government has often spoken about using technology to improve public services. And could the Honorable Premier please update this honorable House on the recent improvements made to the SureLink system?
Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think that the matters that are related on public transport are important. And I think that the investment, sorry?
Premier can answer questions. I'll put his answer questions on one is that we're directly his ministry. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I think that public transport is important for a large number of Bermudians and Bermuda's residents. And the significant investment that this government has made in public transport, whether it's new buses, new ferries, or increased technology to make the service more efficient, should be recognized. Phase 2 of SureLink was launched previously this year, bringing real-time bus and ferry tracking to the public. Passengers can now see accurate arrival times on their phones, helping them plan journeys with confidence and reducing uncertainty.
Okay. Thank you, members. It brings an end to the questions for the Premier's questions.